Welcome to the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Josh Kimmel, Dave Campbell, and Justin Bauerle.
What is going on? Am I still muted? It says the host.
You're good.
Oh, okay. All right. What's going on, guys? We are here going into week 5, just finishing up week 4 of the NFL season. I hope all your fantasy football matchups turned out great. I had an awful week. Awful. Terrible. How about you, Justin? How was your week of fantasy football?
I actually had a great week. I think I only lost 2 matchups this week out of the 11 rosters that I've got, and one of them I'm tanking in, so it doesn't even really matter to me.
You had a humble brag in the OUS chat on Twitter with Viking Dave. I took down the last undefeated team in SFB 13.
In my division, at least.
In your division.
I mean, I was getting smacked. I was 2-4 going into this week, playing up against a 6-0 team, and I beat them by 40 points. So
my team's dead. My team is dead. Scott Fishbowl. Travis Kelce decided to date decided to date someone that nobody cares about. I don't care about. And now
you got to watch out. We might get some Taylor Swift fans.
I don't care. Listen,
then we're toast.
Look, I saw a picture of Salma Hayek today on the internet, and I'm just thinking, why is she not 50 bajillion followers? She's like a goddamn dime. Anyway, we're not talking about women today. We're talking about fantasy football and injuries and the priority waivers. Of course, we have a ton for you today. Let's just kick it off right away with the injury news. There's a ton. Fantasy relevant players, a lot of players on my team. So I'm very passionate about this injury news today.
Time for injury news.
Of that.
Guys, we're working out the kinks on this.
If you're watching the video, that looks legit.
Yeah, if you're watching the video, come over to YouTube, by the way, at Fins Talk Sports Network on Twitter and at Fins Talk Sports Network on YouTube. We're here every single Tuesday and Wednesday, but breaking down the injury news of the week. The first one on our list, Pat Freiermuth, hamstring, out probably 2 to 3 weeks. This is huge. They're losing everyone on that team, it seems like. It seems like all they have left is Johnson, Allen Robinson, and George Pickens. Like, there's nobody left. Calvin Austin is on the team. But, man, losing Pat Freiermuth is huge for Kenny Pickett, who's also on the injury list with a bone bruise.
Yeah, that's one of those rosters where right now that you're looking at it, the team's not doing well. They have George Pickens, and that's about it.
It's not looking good with Mitchell Trubisky leading the charge. I know people like me back in 2019 called him Mitchell Truthbisky. He was leading your fantasy teams to success, but that was 2019. This is 2023 with a banged up offense, a banged up offensive line. Najee Harris is ineffective. Jaylen Warren is very effective, but they're not using him in the way that we think he should be used. Now, with Pat Freiermuth being out, there are some tight ends out there that we will get to that you should pick up. Actually, there was a Twitter question aimed towards us. Who would you start, Pat Freiermuth or a guy we're going to talk about later? I hope you did start the guy we're going to talk about later because the guy balled out. You can go ahead and drop Pat Freiermuth. Tight ends are a dime a dozen. He's not special.
No, I agree. Mitch Trubisky is very average. 12 to 14 points last season when he did come into play. So nothing special about him where you're automatically starting him. Also, if you're starting Kenny Pickett, then are you really losing anything right now?
I mean, come on, there's super flex leagues out there, and
yeah,
people did have him in there. And he is a top 24 fantasy quarterback, so that's not brush him off. And super flex is getting more and more and more casual every single day, so that is a huge loss if you lost Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
If you did lose him, go out and get Trubisky. He shouldn't cost you much. Do not spin the field on him, but we'll talk about that later. The next injury on this list, which is unfortunate, T. Higgins, fractured ribs, no timetable. He says that he can go and play next week, but ribs for anyone, any person in this world, if you have a rib injury, you know how bad it hurts. It's hard to breathe. It's hard to extend. Think about a receiver. You need to extend to catch the ball. If you're extending your ribs and your rib cage, and that hurts. T. Higgins is someone that I could see missing at least 2 to 3 weeks for this with his injury.
Yeah, and that's always a tough one because you're in a position that you get hit in the mid area a lot. I mean, the NFL preaches that you need to get hit in the tackle box practically, and that's your ribs right there. So that's gonna be brutal. The team's not doing well already. I would be taking time at least this week, maybe next week, on just getting better. And if he is playing, then he's going to be wearing one of those like QB flak jackets, and that's going to slow down his speed.
Yes, and you're right about the offense. It's already inefficient already. Joe Burrow's not been hitting his mark. T. Higgins has been on and off. Chase is wide open every single play, apparently. That's what he told us. He's always open.
Every play.
But they're just not getting the ball down the field. This is shitty. This sucks. I'm not going to lie. It sucks when a top 12, top 15 receiver goes down, especially with fractured ribs, because that's going to linger all season long.
Well, it sucks for him too, on a personal note, because he's in a contract year, so he has to ball out, and this season is not going well for him. So I would expect once he gets back from and is 100% healthy, he's hopefully going to start balling out because he's got to.
Yeah, he has to if he wants to get paid. The next one on our list, Javonte Williams. Hey, look at that! Another person on my home league that decided to get hurt this week. T. Higgins and then Javonte Williams back to back. It's awesome. It's fucking great. Javonte Williams' hip. He left the game early on, as he did nothing for your fantasy team, and he's done nothing all season. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're saying he could play. They're saying that he might be able to play if he does play. Like, are you excited? This guy hasn't done anything all season. Zero. This guy's been a zero.
I've been trying to. I tried to tell you guys that all off season. That like, don't go getting him in rounds 1 through 10 or even 1 through 15 because he hasn't proven anything in the NFL. He's been hurt. I get that. He tore his ACL. He's just had a very, very slow start, and now he's having a slow start this year. He's got a hip injury.
Yes.
They don't expect it to be a long injury, but that's still tough.
Like, it just stinks, man. When you're so young and you have all the potential in the world and you're really talented and injury bugs keep on happening and you're on the worst team in the NFL, most likely.
Yeah.
No, hold on. The Bears are the worst team in the NFL. Let's not get that twisted.
Yeah, they did beat the Bears.
Mm-hmm. Embarrassing fact. I can't
very
wait to talk
embarrassing.
about that game. I cannot wait to talk about that game. Probably tomorrow night. Justin Herbert, left hand. They put a splint on his middle finger, non-throwing hand. This could be an issue with him going under center. This could be an issue with him gripping the ball, fumbling issues. Just keep a lookout on that one. He's still going to play, obviously, on his left hand, but just keep a lookout on that. That's pretty concerning for your quarterback. Any kind of finger problems suck.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest injury of the week, Mike Evans left the game against New Orleans with a hamstring injury. That's what Mike Evans does. He doesn't miss time. He doesn't miss time. He plays no matter what. So expect him to trot out there, do nothing, get some cardio in, and score you.
Also on a contract year, so another player that's got to ball out. Real quick on the Justin Herbert thing, this also affects more than just Justin Herbert owners. It's also going to affect Keenan Allen owners. It's going to affect Austin Eckler owners because, they're probably going to hand the ball off a lot more. We saw what Justin Herbert did last season when injured. He wasn't Justin Herbert. So Keenan Allen, currently wide receiver 2 in the league, that could be falling here very quickly.
Yes, I agree with that as well. It's just going to temper the whole offense. The whole offense is going to struggle when your quarterback struggles.
Yeah,
and hurt. But that's it for the main injuries. I'm sure there's a couple more out there that we're missing, but these are the main injuries for the week. Justin, let's pivot over to the priority waivers and.
This week's priority waivers.
What's up, Bobby?
What's going on, boss? We're just doing a casual Tuesday show, giving everyone some news. Hey, Bobby, I heard you took a big fat L to Josh Wingate in the Stock Sports Network League. It sucks. Losing to the worst fantasy player of all time. Come on, Bobby,
literally.
step it up.
Of all time.
Did you miss a show or something? No, Josh must have got lucky because there's no way. No way.
I gotta go to the score now. 140 to 118. Bobby, what are you doing, mate? You were undefeated and you lost to the worst team in. Oh, that's killer, man.
That's fantasy, man. That's fantasy. But let's get into these priority waivers. The number one guy on my list, which I cannot believe he's still available in over 52% of leagues, that's CJ Stroud. We've been telling you guys since I think week 2 to go ahead and pick this guy up. He's better than your faves, right? He's better than Joe Burrow right now. He's better than Dak Prescott right now. He's better than a lot of people right now.
Like, how is he still available in leagues? I don't understand why people are not picking up CJ Stroud. He's a top 10 quarterback.
It's because he's CJ Stroud and people don't trust it and they're waiting for the fall off. But here's the thing, people, with fantasy, you got to ride the lightning. You got to ride it. You have to. If you catch lightning in a bottle, you ride that thing out until it falls, till the wheels fall off.
As soon as you wait for the fall off, you're like, see, I told you, but you also missed like the 5 good weeks. I mean, like, this is like the Raheem Mostert right now. If you're starting him as RB1, which I am, you hope that it continues. I'm hoping it doesn't go to the fall off here in a moment, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, he is going against Atlanta. If you're someone that rosters Joe Burrow right now or Dak Prescott, go ahead and pick up CJ Stroud. And I'm just saying this because Joe Burrow's been struggling. You can't start him until you see it. I think with Burrow, I said that last week, and I say strong on it. I know Viking Dave, Dirtbag Dave, told me that I'm stupid, but I'll tell you this: just because their name is Joe Burrow, just because their name is Dak Prescott, doesn't mean you have to start them every single week. They have bad weeks, and they've been proven they've been very bad this week. And CJ Stroud, or this year, CJ Stroud has not. He's been nothing but money. Going against Atlanta, not the best defense, not the worst. I see them running the ball a ton, but I also see CJ Stroud throwing the ball because he does throw the ball, I think, second most in the NFL right now? Still 0 interceptions.
0 interceptions. He has the most completions or most attempts without an interception to start his career by a lot at this point, too.
The next guy on my list, or our list, Jaleel McClonkin. Justin, can you help him boy out?
McLaughlin?
He is the running back for the Denver.
Here.
Yeah, he's the running back for the Denver Broncos. He balled out once Javonte Williams left the game with that injury. He scored 19.4 fantasy points. He's rostered in 4% of leagues. Everyone was running out getting some JP Ryan, but nobody was getting this guy. He's definitely a priority for me. Someone who lost Javonte Williams and doesn't expect him to be effective when he does play. But I will say this. Every week we have the new hotness, whether it be Matt Breida, whether it be Joshua Kelly, whether it be Justice Hill, whether it be Gus Edwards. When everyone spends all their fab, and guess what happens? It's a huge letdown. Joshua Kelly's on a ton of waivers right now. Matt Breida wasn't even started in many leagues last night. Be careful. Be careful where you spend your money because these running backs have been huge busts. All of them.
Jaleel is the primary candidate this week for when everybody's zigging. You're also zigging if you pick Jaleel up because he's going to be looked at. He scored 19.5 points last week, like you said, but they're going up against the New York Jets, not the Chicago Bears this week. So that's going to be a much tougher defensive line to go up against. Quinnen Williams is better than the entire Bears defensive line by himself. So it's going to be a tough matchup for him. I think he's worth rostering and having on your bench just to hope that, the rookie becomes better after this week.
But since the fact that they're so optimistic that Javonte Williams isn't going to miss too much time, I would not blow a lot of fab on this guy. He's not going to get the Joshua Kelly numbers or the Justice
Jerome
Hill.
Ford or any of those guys.
Yeah, he shouldn't because Javonte Williams is still there. So JP Ryan's going to carry the ball a ton. It's just you're still looking at a guy who has limited upside if Javonte Williams plays, and don't spend all your money. But he is someone you want to look at and you want to put that waiver claim in. Just don't go crazy on him.
Yeah.
A guy you can go crazy on, I know me and you are probably going to disagree on this one, Tyler Boyd, Cincinnati Bengals. They're playing Arizona this week. Arizona's been pretty decent, but with T. Higgins with the fractured ribs, I'm not really confident that he's going to be ready to go. And Tyler Boyd's going to step in and be the number 2. Anyone in the number 2 offense with an offense like that, yes, they're struggling, needs to be picked up right away.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd is historically been good enough to be a wide receiver 2 on most teams. He just so happens to play behind Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, which are 2 of your better wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 combos in the league. He's going to be good. He's going to be good. The only thing to worry about there is Burrow struggling and that entire offense struggling. So, but Tyler Boyd is a favorite target of Joe Burrow next to Jamar Chase. So,
and he's rostered in 37% of leagues. He's rostered in every league I'm in, But if you go by that logic, who's not rock? No, go check, because in all my leagues I already checked, he's rostered in every league I'm in. But he might be available in your league. Like I said, 37% of leagues he's only rostered in, so it leaves a lot of wiggle room. And the guy you definitely want going forward. If T. Higgins' ribs never fail or heal, and if Joe Burrow finally figures this out.
Yeah, because the optimism is that Joe Burrow is going to figure it out. It's Joe Burrow. It's just when is he going to figure it out? But yeah, he's also rostered in every one of my leagues, including on my team 4 times. So.
Oh, nice. So the next guy on our list, we're going into the mid-tier guys, the guys that are worth a look, and we're going to go Jameson Williams coming off the suspension. Huge.
Yeah, because
Jameson Williams.
his suspension was changed to 4 games instead of the 6 games. So this is his first week coming back.
Rostered in 32% of leagues. Going against Carolina, I wouldn't expect much week 1 or week 5, the first week, but it's nice to get him back in. I saw somewhere where Jared Goff leads the league in 20+ air yard attempts. That's Jameson Williams' wheelhouse. That's going to be amazing. So instead of throwing it to Josh Reynolds and these other bums, you get Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown on 2 sides with a very high power offense. I'm excited for it. He's probably, completely honest with you, probably second on my list to pick up this week. Probably second, because I'm avoiding guys like Jaleel, and I already have CJ Stroud. So therefore, Jameson Williams is number 2 on my list.
Totally fair. I mean, he's definitely going to take the top off of offense or defenses as well. He's got that 10 to 15 range. He's also got that deep threat range. I mean, his 160-yard passing or reception touchdown from like last year before he got injured again is something. I'm not blowing all my fab on him. Of course, I went heavy wide receiver on all my leagues this year, so that's probably why I'm not going to blow my fab on him. But
definitely worth a look. 1,000%.
Definitely worth a look. He's available in almost all of the leagues that I have right now. So
the next guy is a guy you need to pick up. I should have put him on. You need to pick him up because he's been solid every single week. Jake Ferguson, tight end, Dallas Cowboys. We had a Twitter question like, "Hey, who should I start?" Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, Jake Ferguson, bro. We're fine with Dak Prescott's not getting the ball down the field at all. Not even close. They're check down city. All they do is check down. And that's Jake Ferguson. Go back to Dalton Schultz. Go back to Jason Witten. That's all this offense has ever done. Check it down to Schultz. Check it down to Witten. Check it down to Jake Ferguson. The guy's going to get you a guaranteed 5 catches a game for 50 yards. That's 10 points PPR. If you play in a tight end premium, it's a little bit more. I'm all in on Jake Ferguson. He's only rostered in 53% of leagues. That's a lot, but he might be on your roster or on your waiver wire.
Yeah, I mean, he's proven to be good right now. So,
man, let me tell you something, Justin. This next guy is going to be controversial, and I want you to talk about him. Jonnu Smith, tight end, Atlanta Falcons. Why? Why are we talking about Jonnu Smith?
Well,
again?
I mean, why not talk about Jonnu Smith? So Jonnu Smith plays in an Arthur Smith offense where when was he last relevant as a fantasy tight end? When he was on the Tennessee Titans?
Never.
Who used to coach the Tennessee Titans? Or who used to be the offense coordinator for the Tennessee Titans?
Ask me that question again.
Arthur Smith?
No, when was the last time Jonnu was relevant?
He was relevant. What are you talking about?
Never.
When he was on the Titans? No, you're
oh, the worst.
Let me pull this up.
The worst.
He was he was tight end 11 in 2020, his last year in Tennessee. That's starting material when you're looking at tight end positions. Right now, he's tight end 11 in Atlanta after 4 games, and that's sitting behind Kyle Pitts. He's out targeting Kyle Pitts. He's producing better than Kyle Pitts. He scored 15.5 points last week, and he's rostered in 1% of the leagues. If you're struggling and on the struggle bus for the tight end position, this is a guy that you should be looking at.
It's just hard to tell someone, and I look, if you're struggling, and I get it, but it's hard to tell someone, hey, go out and get Jonnu Smith, the guy who plays for a team that throws the ball 10 times a game, and you better hope that he gets 6 catches out of those 10 throws. That's so tough for anyone to go pick up off the wire and start him confidently. That's all.
Well, and that's why he's on a worth a stash section, not the pick these guys up and put them in your starting lineup. I mean, so far this year, he didn't play in game 1. He scored 8.7 in weeks 2 and week 3 against Green Bay and Detroit. Now he's playing again, then 15.5 against Jacksonville. He's got Houston this week, which is an easier matchup against the tight end position. Then, I mean, he goes on a 5-game streak of playing against tough defenses. But if we're talking about week to week and you need a tight end and you have to stream somebody, this might be the week that you stream this tight end.
So I will say this about Jonnu Smith. He's had 4 catches in the past, at least 4 catches in the past 3 games. He is getting yardage. Now, last year I told people, take Kyle Pitts. This is before everything went to hell. And I said Hayden Hurst is going to be the tight end 1 there, and Kyle Pitts could be a wide receiver 2 or 3 on your team. Maybe this is the same concept where you're trying to use Kyle Pitts as a receiver and Jonnu Smith as a tight end. I don't know. I'm just not really all in on Jonnu Smith. $0 bid if you want him. Now, you added Mitchell Trubisky on this list. Go ahead and talk about Mitchell Trubisky for me.
Well, I mean, Kenny Pickett's out, so insert next quarterback here. So if you, again, are struggling for a quarterback, Mitch Trubisky might be a guy that you go and get. He scored 12 to 14 points when he came in for Kenny Pickett last year. This is an offense that is also struggling. They're going to try to get the ball off. Mitch Trubisky has no fear of throwing it down the field. All he has to do is get it in Pickens' direction. Soon, Deontay Johnson hopefully should be coming back. He's also got guys like Allen Robinson, who he used to play with as well, so there's a little bit of familiarity there. And Najee Harris is the perfect dump-off candidate. I'm not saying go start him as QB1 this week, maybe not even QB2 in a super flex, but this is somebody that might be worth sitting on the bench this week for future weeks to come.
So Kenny Pickett just has a bone bruise. I don't know how much time he'll miss, but if you are really struggling at super flex and Kenny Pickett was your quarterback too, and you don't have a backup, yes, pick up Trubisky. But if you're in a casual league 1 quarterback, just go ahead and ignore everything we just said.
Yes, exactly. Ignore everything we just said if you're in a casual league with just 1 quarterback and very limited roster spots, unless you have Kenny Pickett. But hopefully you're looking at guys like Matt Stafford, who are in most leagues that have 1 quarterback in a limited bench. So
right now, here are some situations to watch as we're going to run down some 5 players and get on out of here. Joshua Kelly, running back, Los Angeles Chargers. He's been trash, man. He's been totally awful. Eckler's returning after the bye.
So sorry.
I haven't seen Joshua Kelly. He's been on my way. In all the leagues I'm in, my competitive leagues, he's on waivers already. He's already been dropped.
Yep.
So
I just dropped him in 2 leagues, straight up. Yeah, so sorry that we told you to pick him up like 3 weeks ago. So
everyone did. Everyone told you to pick him up.
Eckler's returning after the bye week. So, I mean, that's a pretty much confirmation right there. They're going into a bye week this week. There is no point in rostering Joshua Kelly anymore.
Tutu Atwell, the Los Angeles Rams. Cooper Kupp is returning, we hope. So that's someone you want to keep an eye on. We both agree that he's the guy who's going to take a step back. As Tyler Higbee is that 3rd option, whereas Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp will be the leading receivers. Tutu is interesting, though. He is a big playmaker. He can make some big plays, but he's not going to get the volume that I think is going to be fantasy relevant moving forwards.
He's definitely certainly interesting. He averaging 9 targets a game. That's a lot. I pulled in 5 receptions against the Colts last week, and most of those were in the second half when they were struggling to perform on offense after they went up 23-0. At that point, Puka started to lose his targets, and those targets went to Tutu, but I don't foresee that being a permanent thing. Once Cooper's back, it's going to be Cooper and Puka all day.
I 1,000% agree with that. Another guy, Matt Breida. Barkley should be returning soon. He could have played last night, possibly. Matt Breida's done absolutely nothing for your fantasy team anyway, so go ahead and drop him right now and pick up one of these waiver ads that we told you about. He's been, again, sorry for telling you to pick him up, but everyone else told you to. So,
hey, he was serviceable while Barkley's out, and hopefully the only people that picked up Breida were people that also rostered Saquon Barkley.
I agree. Raheem Mostert, the starting running back. You put him on this list because his snap count was cut to 43% in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you go from 73% in week 2 to 43% last week when Devin Achane, however we pronounce his name now, Achane, is now up to 60%. His snapper Achan's snap percentage is going up every week. Mostert's is going down. I expect, and I think everybody expected this all throughout the offseason, that eventually Achan is going to be the starting running back.
And I think that you can still get something from Mostert.
I think you can. I'm hoping you can, because I don't have two running backs after Mostert. So I'm hoping that the Buffalo Bills defense is something that is the reason why he only got 5.5 points out of his 12 expected points. But that is a little bit worrisome after having a 45-point week. Somebody that I'm not saying go cut him today, but it's somebody that we should check next week. I
agree. And the last one on our list, Zach Moss. He's been very good for fantasy.
Very good.
Very good.
I put him on this list because JT is returning to practice this week. I'm not saying cut him. I think Zach Moss is worth his stash for probably the rest of the season, because you don't know what's going to happen with Jonathan Taylor. I don't even know what's going to happen with Jonathan Taylor, and I'm living in Indianapolis. So this is going to be a guy who he has proven to be a back that gets featured in this offense. He's done well with Anthony Richardson. Previously, when it was JT and Nyheim Hines got snaps. He got carries. He got a snap percentage. I don't think his snap percentage is going to go completely away, but it's definitely going to start going away here soon. So this is somebody that you probably should keep on your roster and hope for the best. So that's, I would be keeping a hold of him for what it's worth.
I agree with you, but I just want to bring this up on Jonathan Taylor, and you can go ahead and play that as we are going to head out of here. Jonathan Taylor's coming back to practice. We don't know if he's coming back to the game. We don't know if he's going to play football. I don't live in Indianapolis, and I told you this during the entire offseason. I live in Tampa, obviously. We all knew Baker was a starter. Everyone knew. It was no secret. But the national media is like, is it Baker or is it Trask? So guys that live in the community like you should know a little bit more. And I'm not saying you should, but you would be the one to go to, or someone in that city, to know if he's going to play and be effective this week, because
unfortunately, it sounds like he's excited to be back. I mean, that could be coach talk, but it sounds like he truly is excited to get back into practice this week and see his teammates. So I fully expect him to come out and run for 13 straight games and just be himself, because he wants to earn that contract.
He probably sees how much fun everyone else is having and wants to be a part of it. Now, if you want to be part of the show, make sure you join our Discord. Links are in the bio. Go ahead and follow us on social media, OUSFF Pod. Follow me, Josh Kimmel, OUS, at Justin Bauerle. Guys, we're going to be back next week, or not next week, tomorrow night. And hopefully my tooth doesn't hurt like it did today, so I'm not chugging vodka the entire show. Guys, we got to get out of here. See you guys tomorrow, man.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. Follow on X and Instagram at OUSFFPOD. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.